Hi students, welcome to Triple Department Lecture Videos YouTube channel. In this video, we are going to discuss about types of fuses, applications of HRC fuses, selection of fuses, discrimination. So these four topics we are going to discuss in this video. First, coming to the types of fuses. So these fuses are classified into four types. One is rewirable type, totally enclosed or cartridge type, and open type, and semi-enclosed rewirable fuse. So coming to first one, rewirable type fuse. Again, these are classified into two types: open type, semi-enclosed type. So semi-enclosed type fuse you can see in this diagram. So it's consisting of two parts. One is fuse carrier and fuse base. So fuse carrier again is consisting of fuse element. So fuse element is connected between contacts. So those things we can observe in this diagram. So fuse carrier is holded by contacts of fuse base. So again fuse carrier contacts consisting of two terminals. So in between the terminals we are placing the wires, supply wires. So open type fuse and semi enclosed type fuse. Again fuses are totally enclosed or cartridge fuse. So again these are two types. One is D type cartridge fuse and other one is high rupturing capacity HRC cartridge fuse. So we can call it as a linked type cartridge fuse, and third one is open fuse, semi enclosed rewirable fuse. So open type fuse and semi enclosed type fuses are very cheaper than the other two types of fuses, since these are placed, these elements are placed open type, and there is no enclosed part inside the fuse carrier. Okay. So next one, HRC fuse. So this is one of important thing. So the HRC fuse we are using in 11 kilovolts to 33 kilovolts supply. So this fuse is one of important in power transmission, power distribution, to avoid the fire hazards and fire accidents. So since HRC fuse consisting of a powder, so that is called pure cartridge powder. Whenever fuse element melts, it gives the fire, it gives the heat, and it gives fire. So those things avoided by the powder. So powder is like a fire extinguisher inside the fuse. So that is one important thing. Is one important advantage using HRC fuse. Normal fuses will give the fire and it will give the fire hazards. But if you use HRC fuse, it will not produce any fire. So due to pure cartridge powder. So we can see the diagrams of HRC fuse. So HRC fuse and HRC fuse with indicator. So HRC fuse normally it will not have any indicator. So the disadvantage of HRC fuse without indicator is whenever fuse element is melt, so we cannot observe whether the fuse element is there inside or not. So with indicator we can observe fuse element is there or not. So that is the one major difference between fuse HRC fuse and HRC fuse with indicator. So here one disadvantage of HRC fuse is whenever operation done, so whenever fuse element is melt, so we need to replace with new fuse. So we cannot reuse the HRC fuse by replacing the fuse element. So that is the one major disadvantage here. So also we can avoid the fire accident. So that is the one advantage here. So we can observe the fuse, HRC fuse with indicator. So here inside the HRC fuse element is made up of silver metal. So silver here we are seeing, since silver resistivity is very less compared to uh, other elements like copper and aluminum. That's what to conductivity, to reduce the resistivity. So we are using, so increase the conductivity, reduce the resistivity, we are using silver fuse element. Okay, so this is about HRC fuse. So So here we can see the advantages and disadvantages of HRC fuse. So HRC fuse having more advantages than the disadvantages. So here coming to the advantages, capability of clearing high value of fault currents. So high value of fault currents easily you can eliminate, and fast operation. So operation is very fast. No duration for longer periods. So duration for no longer period means no duration. So it will be safe for longer periods. So no maintenance needed. No maintenance needed means like rewirable fuse, we no need to replace every time. And whenever fault occurs, whenever fuse element is blows, we need to replace with new one. Next one, reliable. So it is more reliable for higher voltages, and consisting of consistent in performance, continuous performance, cheaper than other circuit interrupting devices, current limitation by cutoff action, inverse time current characteristics. So these are the um, HRC with advantages. Coming to the disadvantages. So come disadvantages, it requires replacement after each operation. Already we have discussed. So whenever fault occurs, we need to replace with another HRC fuse. And interlocking is not possible. So interlocking means you need to join, you need to give, you need to replace element again and again. So rewirability is not possible, and it produces overheating of the adjacent contact. Since HRC fuse we are using in high voltages and high currents, so whenever fault occurs, and it will give overheating at adjacent the contacts. So these are the disadvantages of HRC fuse. Coming to the applications of HRC fuse. So HRC fuse are having enormous but some very important applications are there. So first one, production of low voltage distribution system against overload and short circuit, protection of cables, protection of bus bars, protection of motors, protection of semiconductor devices, backup protection for circuit breakers. So these are the very important applications we can use for low voltage distribution. This is the first application against overloads and short circuit, and protection of cables. So whenever fault occurs, cables may be melt, so that we can avoid. Protection of bus bars. So bus bars means the transmission lines, so those we can protect by using HRC fuse. And motors also we can protect. Semiconductor devices, so like semiconductor devices means inverters, rectifiers, and choppers, and AC voltage regulators. Those things we can protect by using HRC fuses. And also backup protection. So backup protection already we studied in the first module of this subject. So backup protection means whenever the primary device is failed to protect the device, so backup protection you can use and you can protect. So backup protection to the circuit breakers. So these are the applications of circuit breakers. So next video we can uh, discuss about selection of fuse and discriminations. Okay, thank you everyone.